Life's hard, man. Life is hard. It's hard because you have no choice in being born. And so you're born and you grow up and you find yourself in this body with these particular thoughts and feelings. And it's fucking hard because there's no instruction or book. You don't know why you're here, what you're doing. You don't know what anything is. You don't know what life is. What the fuck is this, you know? You're just here and you're just fucking going along with the game. We're just going along with whatever, whatever you do, and it's like it's not that often that you stop to question what's going on here. But when you do, it's really quite sad because you're faced with truth and you're faced with something really existential. And it's sad because all the things that you held on to, that you really thought was real and true and permanent, is gonna fucking fade away and be gone forever. You know, the relationships that you hold on to. The friendships and relationships that you make along the way. It all dies. It all fucking goes. You know. It all fucking goes. Really close bonds that you have. It all fucking goes. It all dies. Everything dies. That's the fucking saddest thing. Because you're holding on to so much. You don't want things to die. You don't want things to go away. But the truth of the matter is that things are always going away. In every moment things are coming and going. And you have no choice. Nothing stays. Everything comes and goes. Who you think you are. You know, even yourself. This person that you're so attached to, that you, along the years that you have began to come to terms with, along the years, this person that you've began to become familiar with is gonna die. Not always have I looked down at my body and respected this and knew this as something big going on here. Looking down at my hands and my body, and just the very fact that I can move my fingers and speak words and take action on things is really quite amazing, and I take for granted. And getting in touch with this deep thing where I'm in this body, It's taken 21 years for me to recognize the profundity and the fact that I am in this body, that I am playing this game, and it's really now quite sad and scary that this is not forever. Because before, a part of me didn't even think of the truth of impermanence. I just, I never questioned anything. I was just born into this world, which I never questioned, and I was just Jasper. I'm just Jasper. I'm just this person. And for some strange reason, I just thought that this is who I am, and this is what life is, and this is forever. This is, this is just life. Like, just whatever I experience, like, this is just how it is. But I never fucking questioned my morality and other people's morality. I mean, so, not morality, mortality. I never questioned my mortality and other people's mortality and the mortality of the things around me. And when you really get in touch with the impermanence of things, in the mortality of things, that's something really fucking sad and existential when you come face to face with that, because you think things are going to be forever, but they're not. That's, when you meet the love of your life, and it seems so fucking perfect. And then when you get in touch with the fact that this person that you're falling in love with is gonna die one day, and they could die in any moment. They could die in any moment. And then they're gone forever and you never see them again. And it's not enough to just not think about that. You fall in love with someone, and for years and years and years, you're just happily together, and nothing's happened. It's not enough to just think that that's how it's always going to be, because you've got to remember that nothing stays the same, and anything could happen at any time. Anything could die in any moment. And that's not a fantasy, that's not just some concept. It's not just something that happens to other people. That kind of shit happens to you. It's going to happen, and you don't know when it is. And you've got to get in touch with that before that gets in touch with you. Otherwise, you're going to be fucked up. You're going to get fucked up. If you don't get in touch with death before death gets in touch with you, that's going to fuck you up. And it's going to fuck you up if you get in touch with death before it gets in touch with you. But would you not prefer for you to voluntarily get fucked up instead of involuntarily? And this is what I'm going through. Some of the time is that I think about shit like, death and these existential shit, and like, who am I? Like, I had no choice in being born, and I'm just living this life, this existence, and I'm going through these phases of birth and death. And it's scary and it's sad. And especially when you mature and you get more and more in touch with love. And you love someone so dearly and you see the divinity within them. It's so fucking hard to remember that this is not forever. And that this person's gonna die and you're gonna die. Because, you know, if you really just imagined what life would be like if all your, like, if everyone that you ever knew died right now, what would you do, you know? You would be so fucking lonely. You would be faced with the most difficult existential crisis there is. And some people would say to me, like, why are you putting yourself through this? Why are you imagining people's death and your own mortality? And the reason being is because if you don't, then you're living in an illusion. You're living in falsehood because this is the shit that's happening. And if you don't address it now, you're only going to address it when the fact of the matter comes, and that's going to fucking tear you apart more than anything else. You have to address it before it fucking addresses you, before it comes to you. And that's hard to do. Because you can do it for a moment, but then, you know, it comes back where it's like, oh, well, that's all good. It's not happening now. No one's dying now. I'm all good. I'm sat in bed. I'm safe. Everything's fine. But I mean, the fact of the matter is that anyone can die in any moment. All your loved ones. There is no certainty in your future. Your future is imagination happening within the present moment. There is no future. The future is not certain at all. And that's what's sad, is that we believe in a future, but it doesn't exist. And when you really tap into the truth of that fact, that the future doesn't exist, that's what brings you to sadness and despair. Because all this time you've believed in a future that doesn't exist. You've believed in something that has no solidity or existence to it. And so when you finally realize that this thing doesn't exist, well, you know, it's loss. And it's grievance. It's sad, man. Being alive, this solitude, this isolation. You can interact with people and you can feel connected, but at the end of the day, you're always going to be just with yourself. It's just consciousness. It's just you. You can't know anyone else. And it's sad. And everyone dies. And you die. And this is not a morbid thing. Like people, like our Western culture and society look at death as something morbid and something unnatural and something taboo. But death is the most naturalist thing ever. And I'm coming to terms with death. Because I was never fucking taught things about death. No one ever taught me about death. People like to put death under the rug like it's something that should not be looked at. But it needs to be looked at because it's true. It's getting face to face with absolute truth. That form dies. It's getting face to face with impermanence. Nothing stays the same. Everything comes and goes. And that includes people. People are born, they live, and then they die. And everyone understands this as a concept, but when you really get in touch with this and realize that that's